gone
Yeah, I
through
mean, this
that.
guy just got dumped by
Yeah.
not some like two-bit honey. This is fucking Joni Mitchell just put him on his
Yeah.
ass. And
Mhm.
like he goes and he gets Crosby, Neil Young,
I
Phil
mean,
Lesh.
yeah, that's
Like just it's
crazy.
like, hey guys, I'm feeling a little down about this. You want to get up on this song that I wrote?
It is time.
So you fellows were nice enough to let me pick a song. I picked this one for a variety of reasons. Because you only let me pick a couple. So I had to pick one that had like a lot in it. And you know, what's fascinating about this is Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young had just kind of done Deja Vu, which was a huge, big, obviously not a bad for your kind of first big release, right? And that like a year after that, all four of those cats put out solo albums, and all of those albums went into the top 20, which is also pretty badass. Imagine a band doing an album which was integral to 1970 and beyond with Deja Vu, and then they all go off and do solo albums, and all those solo albums like do almost as well. And but Graham's is always the one that gets a little lost in that. Songs for Beginners. It was his breakup with Joni Mitchell album, and
Mm.
um, you know, I've kind of been a student of Joni Mitchell, and was very fortunate to have Joni come back to Newport last year, and and uh, I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of people that were on this particular song.
Mhm.
And what's fascinating about it is, yes, while it's a Graham Nash solo song, it was done in Wally Heider's studio in San Francisco, and just his friends were hanging around. His friends included like Neil Young is on it, Jerry Garcia's on it, Phil Lesh of the Dead is on this,
Wow.
David Crosby is on it, and it's the pedal from Garcia who never really got his due. You know, you may or may not know, but Garcia also did the pedal on "Teach Your Children," the famous Crosby, Stills and Nash song, and it was one of the
Huh.
few times that Garcia's pedal steel made it onto an album. And but all that being said, what means the most to me is by the way, also Glyn Johns was on it. Gary Burton did the artwork. But anyway, why I like it is musically, it has this kind of the Garcia riff on it. Just fucking destroys me because it's, you know, Garcia was not an accomplished pedal player. He was just kind of picking it up, and he would, you know, just kind of screw around on it. And he not only delivered "Teach Your Children," which is famous, but this one
Yeah.
is more haunting. And a couple years back, we had an artist who had to bail off of Newport with like 4 days to go, and I was having this kind of strangely this is what happened. I was in I found out, and then I was just on Twitter, and MC Taylor, aka His Golden Messenger, and I had posted that I loved this song. I used to be a king. I was like, this song is in my top 5 favorite songs of all songs, and he was like, me too. And he's like, I love the album because it's called Songs for Beginners, because all the songs sound super simple, but they're actually really emotionally heavy and complicated, and they carry so much emotional gravitas. And all of a sudden, this is, remember, live on Twitter, and everybody can see this. I said, well, I just did a spot opened up. Do you want to throw together a set called, you know, Songs for Beginners, and just do the album start to finish? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And
Wow.
then it was little by little, like people started chiming in that were coming to the festival.
Yeah.
Like, this is the point I was saying about Sylvanesso is, you know, um, Amelia from Sylvanesso is in this other group called Mountain Man, and they came and they did it. And Tallest Man on Earth came and did it. And Amy Ray from the Indigo Girls jumped up and did it. And Phil Cook and all these amazing artists decided to like join in this celebration of this Songs for Beginners. And I just remember that when Mike said, well, you know, he kind of helped throw this a lot together, MC Taylor. And I was like, Mike, you know, you've got to do I Used to Be a King. And he's like, absolutely. And he sent me a demo of him just doing it. and it's one of the most emotionally manipulative. And what I mean by that, it just fucking crushes me every single time. But then I heard the demo, and then I remember that it was just him doing it solo, and that may have been the plan. But over the course of like 4 days is this set, I mean, like the Lake Street Dive Cats were on it, and everybody started joining in on the set. Like, I'll play pedal and I'll sing harmonies, and everyone just threw their egos out. And when this song was performed at Newport by all these young artists, like 50 years after the album came out, man, again, Newport, fucking Newport magic. That's what I have to say about this song.
Wow. Strong words from Jay Sweet, executive director of the Newport Jazz Fest and Newport Folk Fest. We're listening to Graham Nash from the 1971 album Songs for Beginners, listening to I Used to Be a King right here on Galaxy Jams Reacts.
You can hear the pain of breaking up with Joni Mitchell in this song too.
I used to be a king, and everything around me turned to gold. I thought I had everything. Now I'm left without a hand to hold. But it's alright, I'm okay. How are you? For what it's worth, I must say I love you. And in my bed late at night, I miss you. Someone is gonna take my heart. No one is gonna break my heart again. Used to be a king, and everything around me turned to rust. It's 'cause I built my life on sand, and I watched it crumble in the dust. Yeah, but it's alright, I'm okay. I want to know how you are. And what it's worth, I must say, I loved you as you are. In my bed, where are you? Someone is gonna take my heart. No one is gonna break my heart again.
Wow, it's great.
Yep.
I mean, emotion in the song. You're correct. I mean,
it's palpable. Like it really is.
And if you've ever gone
I mean,
that,
this guy just got dumped by not some like 2-bit honey. This is fucking Joni Mitchell just put him on his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And like he goes and he gets Crosby, Neil Young, Phil Lesh. Like it's like, hey guys, I'm feeling a little down about this. You want to get up on this song that I wrote? And Garcia, who's not an accomplished pedal player, is like this haunting thing, you know. It's just, I don't know, man. The thing is, as while we were listening, I was looking behind me. There's 2 pictures on 2 postcards, and it's Garcia and Joni, and it's just that whole scene, you know, that whole like, you know, Laurel Canyon scene is being played out in this, and in a way, you know. They all went up to north to see. They like basically. Graham bolted from Laurel Canyon to get away from having to see his ex, you know. Anyway,
some friends just hanging out trying to make their buddy feel
exactly. I mean, just like, but these are some fucking friends, man. Like, and like, you know, the fucked up thing is like the 3 guitar well, because Garcia isn't on normal, it's Neil, and even David Crosby is playing electric guitar on this, not acoustic. Yeah, anyway, it's just, it also just has this weird, that song to me doesn't just sound like a straight up 70s Jackson Brownie type Laurel Canyon. It's got this ghost in it. You know what I mean? There's a ghost in this song. There's like a deeper ghost in it. That's all I can explain it. Like maybe it's just the love lost, you know?
Yeah. You know, absolutely.
Yeah, my mentor once told me sometimes you feel like you're the fly and sometimes you feel like you're the windshield, you know? And that's what I was thinking of when I was listening to this song, because, you know, even when you're on the highest highs or the lowest lows, you know, there's still something to be said about like getting any kind of inspiration from any of that. And I know it's kind of cliche, but like a lot of musicians will tell you that, you know, when something tragic like a breakup or a death happens in your life, that's when you get in the studio and can make magic happen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what is it Dylan said, right? Blood on the tracks. This is literally blood on the tracks.
That's, oh my God.
You know?
That's such a crazy phrase, but that's so true.
I'm going to leave it at that.
That was a nice transition.
Yeah.
They're doing these interesting step ups, you know, to each part.
Someone is gonna take my heart. No one is gonna break my heart again. And I used to be a king.
Oh my God.
But everything around me turned around.
Tugging at your heartstrings.
But I know all I have to do is sing. And I lift myself way off the ground. Yeah, but it's alright. I'm okay.
That's such a cool change right there.
How are you?
I love the grit in his voice in those high parts.
Yeah.
So good.
Gonna take my heart, but no one is gonna break my heart again. No, no,
Is so full of triumph and so full of sorrow, you know, because she broke his heart so bad that no one's ever going to do it again. And it's that statement where it's like,
hey, I was at a Graham Nash show just the other night, and Graham knows that this is my like song, and it was like the third song of the show, and he flat out like, this is, I don't know, 55, whatever, how many years after he wrote the damn thing. And he literally got it and was like, ladies and gentlemen, I wrote this next song, you know, the day after he didn't break up, after I was broken up by with Joni Mitchell. And like, this is X amount of years and he's still telling audiences of the emotional
oh my God,
turmoil of it, you know. And the other thing about that, you brought up a great point. It's like, you know, Graham was the one who actually made, everyone gives Crosby a lot of, you know, RIP, love you, Big Cros, but everyone gave Cros a lot of the attention for creating the harmony between Stills and Nash. I don't really agree with it. I think Nash is the most pure singer. Like, yeah, David knew what harmony was, but if Nash is the one whose voice never broke, you know, who never went out and screamed, and here he is just doing double on his own voice, right? Those are his own vocals, there's no whatever, but you can hear him cracking on this song.
Yeah.
You can hear him losing he was the perfection guy in Crosby, Stills and Nash, and there's no perfection in this in his singing. And I think that's where you're just like, let the emotion do the thing, right?
That's
and especially the other thing that I love is, you know, what's also crucial to this, and it gets buried in the mix, is it's just that piano, straight piano, through no phasers and pedals. That's just a piano, you know.
Yeah.
I like it. I love it.
It's just raw and it lets the vulnerability shine through and
Yeah.
just shows that raw emotion.
Yeah.
And how about those Garcia lines?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
So
just
good.
absolutely
So
knowing
good.
what to do right there to just
Exactly.
grab the tears from your face
Yeah.
and
That's right.
yank them out.
The part that really got me.
He's like puppet mastering the tear ducts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
He knows. The part that really got me was I had said it when I heard it was when Nash's voice started going into the gravel, like when he started putting gravel into his voice, and you could hear the break. Like it immediately caught me. I was like, "Whoa!" That because he went from something that was so much more subdued, very sad, to like you said, Mike, triumphant, but also just like really emotional. So it was awesome.
It's great.
But did you guys, to end this, but did you guys like remember what I was saying is like it's called Songs for Beginners, but you guys caught on something. It's like that sounds like a little good song. Like it sounds simple. Like a good song sounds simple, but ask anybody how hard it is to play that song and capture that. It's really, really hard. And it does have a couple little weird changes, but it's like deceptively complicated, you know.
Absolutely. And speaking of Joni Mitchell, you did have her back at the festival last year. How did that happen? How did that come together? Because I saw that video and it was amazing. Amazing moment.
It was, you know, when we had Dolly Parton in 2019, I thought I would never, it went viral, but it went viral in a United States sense. And what was amazing about the Dolly Parton moment is it was the only thing trending in America of the top 10 things trending, you know, Twitter, AP, whatever trending. It was the only thing that was positive. Like there was a shooting at a garlic festival. There was like, you know, it was truly like, it was the only positive thing that was trending, and it trended for like 4 days. And then Joni and Paul Simon happened last year, and it was in the #1 trending thing for a week around the world. So like, it's kind of, it kind of screwed with us a little bit, but how did it happen? It was Joni Mitchell decided to come back to Newport, where she was discovered. She was discovered at Newport, and she showed up in '67 just as a hang, like literally just hanging out, and met like Leonard Cohen and whatnot, and then came back in '69 and sang, and she met Chris Christopherson, and it was like Chris Christopherson and James Taylor, and they all were hanging out with Judy Collins at Newport in '69, and I met Joni. I was asked by my favorite person perhaps on the planet, which is Mavis Staples, and Mavis had asked me to throw her 80th birthday parties, and one of the ones that we threw was in LA. And another dear friend of mine, the incomparable Brandy Carlisle, it was a benefit concert, and she totally fucked with me. She's like, "Hey, is it cool? Kath," which is her wife, said, "Kath and I are coming, but can we get one more as a guest?" I was like, "Oh, Brandy, look, you know, it's a total pain in the ass. This is like, we're trying to sell all the tickets to raise all this money to give to these causes that Mavis has chosen." She's like, it's cool. You'll like her. She's a Newport alum." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm bringing Joni Mitchell."
You're like,
And I was like,
wow.
Joni Mitchell hadn't left the house at that point.
Right.
Like literally had not gone out like since her injury. And I met her there with Mavis Staples, and I started to talk, and she was like, "Oh, you're the Newport guy." And I got a little, you know, peck on the cheek because I got her, thanks to Brandy, told me her favorite white wine. I put a nice cold bucket of, you know, two bottles of it next to her as she was watching Mavis Staples. But I told her, I said, you know, I heard this crazy story from James Taylor about meeting you at Newport, and she all of a sudden, man, like she was, you know, she was pretty beat up, you know, like she had a rough time. But when I mentioned meeting James at Newport, and she told me about this picture that I was there when James had his picture taken at Newport recently, and gave it. It was okay. There's a picture of James Taylor at Newport fairly recently, like last couple of years, like four years ago or something. Picture of James Taylor at Newport, underneath a framed picture in his dressing room at Newport of Joni Mitchell at Newport in 1969, the year that James met her. And there's a picture of James like mimicking her pose in that picture underneath it. He made that picture and sent it to Joni for her 75th birthday. And I said, "Did you ever get it?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's over my throne." meaning her crapper, meaning her bathroom. And I was like, she's like, yeah, but I love that. And it was and she had these vivid memories from Newport. And I remember, Brandy is just a goddess. She was like, I remember being like, you ever want to come back just to not to perform, because there was no thought that was ever going to happen again. Mm-hmm. Like she was, it was like, she just got out of the house, and it took Mavis Staples turning 80 to get her out of the house in LA. So to get her from LA all the way to Newport, I didn't, it wasn't an empty invitation, but I was like, look, you are welcome. It would be my honor to have you come back, and I'll get you a thing right on the stage, and maybe you can watch Brandy play. And she's like, oh, I'd like that, and blah, blah, blah. A little known, Joni is just so full of just tenacity. We mentioned that word earlier, and vim and big. I'm just like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get back to Newport. And, yeah, she had some help from some amazing people, but, Brandy deserves a lot of the credit, but the only credit that really, I had nothing to do with it. Honestly, I had nothing to do with it. That's the true thing is I trusted Brandy and Joni. That's what I did. I trusted two extremely powerful women who knew more about, in some respects, more about the gravitas and the thing about what Newport really is as an artist and what it's there for. They both had their kind of younger moments at Newport, both Brandy and Joni. And so they came back, and I just held on for dear life, quite frankly. I literally just got to witness a front row seat to history, and still, as you can tell, haven't really digested it. It's been a while.
It was amazing to watch that when it came out, and I was just like, it was one of those things that kind of just popped up on YouTube for me. I was just like, what? And I sat there and just watched the whole thing, and it was very emotional.
Yeah, and people's have such goldfish brains for something to go viral for more than an hour or two.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting calls from like Le Monde and these like Dutch TV shows, and I begged off all of it. And then I ran into, it was like in September, I was walking through LaGuardia Airport, and I saw Sheryl Crow, and she walked up to me, and we were talking briefly. And she lowered her badass rock star mirror glasses, and her eyes were all watery because she was like, "I'm still watching videos." And we didn't even talk that it was Joni. I just knew what she meant. Mm-hmm. She was like, "I'm still watching the videos," and and this was in September. This was like 6-7 weeks after it happened. Wow. I mean, it was kind of crazy.